Welcome and welcome back to the Light Renegades. My name is Star. First of all, apologies for my voice, everyone. I was away this weekend, a very dear Soul Sisters hen party weekend. So I've laughed so much, I've nearly lost my voice. So apologies in that. But today's video is just going to be me sharing some aspects of self and soul that I think is going to be important for some to witness and to hear and to understand. So this is very much me, I guess, sharing where I find myself right now and an expression that I think that I've been just not wanting to admit to self. So I want to say that my life has been incredibly challenging in all realm, space and time on my personal levels, because I've been feeling like I've just been fighting this uphill battle to be heard, to be seen, to be understood. And it's been feeling like I've just been failing time and time again, not just myself, but others around me. But also knowing that there was a time when I had to just start to decide to step forward for myself, because I knew I couldn't fight for others any longer, and that they had to step up to the plate and fight for themselves. And I want to say that a lot of my expression has been taken and misconstrued and turned into something that it just didn't need to be. And I want to say that I've always had so much love and compassion in my heart for everyone, and anyone that I've been connected to this lifetime. I've paid my dues, I've tried to say my apologies, I've tried to have discussions with everyone involved, and I stepped forward back in 2022 and tried to have discussions with everyone that I felt connected to this lifetime, and I was refused those discussions, and I still stepped with grace in my heart. So anything after that moment in time was merely me protecting myself, because I felt like I was being attacked left, right and center, and all I was trying to do was share this expression of me understanding what was going on in these fabrics of reality. And now I know that so many wasn't able to understand it back then, but I want to say that everyone needs to just really tighten their bootstraps right now and start to come from a space of more compassion in their hearts for themselves and for everyone else around them. And it's going to be so important that we just step forward with a lot more love in our hearts and in our spaces, because I will not fight any longer. At some point in this journey, I decided that I just wasn't going to speak up anymore, and I was just going to sit in silence. And I think that the truth is now coming to light in my personal spaces, and I'm grateful for that. And it's taken a real long time to get here, and it's been incredibly challenging, and I've really had to bite my tongue time and time again, and my patience has been tested time and time again. So for those that might find themselves in similar expressions, please know that your tears behind the scenes aren't in vain, your sleepless nights aren't in vain, and you biting your tongue and having that patience is honestly helping so many out here be able to reach those expressions themselves, because I know that everything that I've been through hasn't just been for me, it's been for so many others out there. And I know that the darkness that I've been facing in my life, and those people that couldn't see my light, has been a pure reflection of what is happening on the peripherals and through the entirety of humanity, trying to get through these cycles of trying to reach new states of consciousness, reach these higher vibrations of expression. So I know that my little life has been such an expression of what is actually happening out there collectively, and the same is going to go for so many of you out there in the collective also. So please know the challenges that you have been facing, if they have felt like they are insurmountable, if they felt like you have just been running up a mountain backwards, please know it's because it's not just you that you've been fighting for all of this for, it's for the entirety of humanity. So please hold yourself in a lot more grace and a lot more care, but also know that when you have to put your foot down, when you have to say no to certain expressions, to certain energy, to certain entities, you have to do that, and you have to stand strong in your convictions and put those strong boundaries in place. Otherwise you're just going to help everyone just find their space of drowning. And sometimes I've had to be the light in spaces where people just couldn't see exactly what I was doing, but I just had to have ultimate faith in myself, and knowing that I knew I was here for the lightest of expression of all. And I was really trying to be so gracious in my spaces and really try to let everyone just be exactly what they needed to be, while seeing it all play out exactly what was happening. It's so incredibly challenging to see it all play out and just be painful somewhere. It's been painful to see others suffer. It's been painful to see others be trapped by others in these karmic expressions, and just watching them drown, and knowing that there was nothing I could do but just send them energy and say, I hope that they make it through. And I'm grateful to see that, most expressions have, but I've lost a lot of people on this path. There was a lot of expressions that just couldn't come with me, and I still feel like I'm having to say goodbye to some expressions, and it's a bittersweet expression where I find myself right now, because I know that I'm delving into spaces that other people do not want to go there. They are not equipped to go there. They are not ready to face these truths of this world, and I have to live a I don't even know, more than a double agent life at this moment in time. And I definitely know that this aspect of me has been used against me in certain spaces. And, you know, my name's been tried to be tarnished so many spaces because people think that I'm fake, because I show up to certain people in very different ways. And, you know, this is not only a protective tactic, but also it is very much me. I've lived many, many lives, and I've been many, many different expressions. And I'm not just one way. And as much as I'm light, I'm also shadow. And I have a personality. And also I can't be everything that, you know, I am over here on the Light Renegades and my personal spaces, because not everyone is ready to be in that expression. But that doesn't mean that these people don't deserve to be in my life. That doesn't mean that, you know, places and spaces in my family I'm connected to specifically shouldn't be in my life. So I have to be many fractals of myself for many different people, and that goes with regards to clients as well. I have to be relatable. I am relatable, and I know so much of this world, and I'm very much a chameleon of energy and very much a chameleon of expression, and that is with fortitude. I know that I'm here to reach so many. I know that I'm here to be a light for so many. I know that I'm here to support so many. So I have to be a myriad of so many different expressions. So if you perhaps feel like I step towards you in a very different way that, you know, I step towards someone else, perhaps this is something to think about and reflect on as to why that might be. And please know that I'm a pure divine mirror. So if you've received a shadow aspect of me, it's been with reason. And for some of you out here, you know this to be your truth. So I just will not stand for disrespecting my space. And this is something that I shared on my personal platform, but I'm going to share it here as well. And please know that I have love in my heart for everyone. And I've really, really, really forgiven so many in my spaces. And I've tried to have conversations with everyone in all my realm, spaces, and time. And I've tried to figure this out, but there was just no speaking to some. I really tried, and I was given no. So please know, if you've been told things behind the scenes that I wasn't willing to speak to people, that's not true. I tried to speak to everyone involved, but I was told no in my spaces. And I'm just so done with trying to defend myself. I just won't do it any longer. The truth is here. If you want to know more about me, watch my content. If you want to know more about me, start at the beginning of all of this, and the truth is there if you want to believe it to be true. And, you know, I have to understand that what my reality is, it might not be the same reality as others. And at some certain points in my expression, I just didn't understand that to be the truth. There was no part of me that thought that others might not be able to see and experience exactly what I was experiencing. And now that I know that I've been wrong in that expression. So some aspects of this, I know that I've been combative because I thought that everyone could see what I could see. I now know that this isn't the truth. So that's the only thing that will hold my hands up and say, at some moments, I just didn't know that everyone couldn't see or wasn't experiencing the same thing that I was experiencing. That's the only thing that I know that I was, you know, wrong on in that expression. Otherwise, I have nothing to say. I have nothing to apologize for, and I won't. I stood strong in my convictions, and I know that everything that I've done on this life path has been to help not just myself, but so many. And I'm so grateful to be in the position that I can, speaking to the teams of light that I can. And I'm not going to falter in that. There is no part of me that is working behind the scenes for a darker agenda. There is a whole series of me, you know, saying why that isn't a good expression, and also, you know, the spaces where I have been tempted in that expression, I've had to say no to, because it's just not been my life path. So to those that think I'm here for shadowy aspects, I can promise you that I'm not. And I'm just not going to try and convince you anymore. Whatever you believe is up to you. But I know that I'm here for the light as much as I'm a shadowy aspects, and that has been for those souls that are wanting to step ever more into the light. So I had to be those shadowy aspects. I've lived many, many lives as darker beings, inverted commas, because I knew that I was going to have to be here fighting for both sides in some respects, and helping souls that are in a denser vibration reach the highest heights that they can. So I had to be able to mirror and be in both of those expressions in the exact same time. And I knew that I was on a path that hadn't been seen before, or to this degree. And I know that this is going to split the fabric of reality for some, which is why I know that it's been difficult for some to accept me. But I'm just not begging for my space here anymore. I know why I'm here. And, you know, if you want to be by my side in this expression, then, you know, I know that you will show up for me. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue on my path, and there is no apologies for me. And, you know, this is to those that it applies. So that's all I have to say within the matter. I won't be talking of this again. But I want to say, for those that might be struggling to find their place, just keep sitting with yourself and perhaps block out the noise of others. There were so many moments in this path where I had to just make sure that I was communing with my own energy alone, and that I was listening to myself. And this goes with regards to connecting to teams of light also. And, you know, behind the scenes, I fell out with a lot of my galactic expressions, because, you know, I feel like one of them. I know that I'm one of them. So it's very much more of an expression of a family dynamic rather than a I want to say say, spirit and guide expression. And I think this is something that isn't spoken about enough often, is that, you know, I have squabbles behind the scenes with my teams of light. I have squabbles with regards to galactic expressions, because I know that they are family and we fight like family. We have disruptions like family, and I think this just isn't shared enough. So please know there have been moments on this path where I very much had to block everything out, including my teams of light, and to really decide what I wanted to be experiencing. And there was no wrong way for me to answer those questions, but for me to be able to answer those questions truthfully, I had to step away from everything and everyone. There's been so many times where I've had to retreat from everything, friends and family, and you know, for some that they couldn't understand this, but I think now more so than ever they knew that whenever I stepped away, it's because there has been things that I've been needing to figure out for myself. And I want to say that you will always be pushed into a path of figuring things out for yourself, as much as we have teams of light, as much as we have those around us that can help anchor us in spaces that, you know, bring us back to the light. And Anna Maria and so many of you souls out there have been bringing me back from perhaps the seat of darkness for so many times on this expression, because I had to sink to that low depths of that. But sometimes it was difficult for me to pull myself out of that, because it was something that I knew so strongly and so deeply in my previous soul's expression, that it was difficult for me to find my way back and claw my way back. So please know that souls are sent to help us, but it is our own self and our own soul that is going to be that which really takes us on the trajectory of that which we need to be our own personal reality. And it's difficult to try and put into an expression just exactly how important it is to know exactly what your truth is in the here and now. Please know that truths change. My truth has changed many times in this path of Light Renegades, and it's been difficult to have to admit that to you all over here, but I've had to see that's been with divine purpose. So please know that you have to stand strong in what you believe in any present given moment, but be open to change and be open to understanding that the way you've lived your life and all of your previous lives, your ancestors and everyone else connecting to you, affects how you perceive reality. And this has definitely been something that has been difficult for me to understand, because I now was seeing that I was perpetuating cycles that were really toxic for me, really painful for me, because this is what my ancestors went through, this is what, you know, other people around me had gone through, and I was just collecting that energy and I was using it as my own without knowing that, no, I came here with such a strong soulic signature, but this is something that I've had to reawaken to, and this is the path that we are on right now, reawakening the soul signature that we've been banging on about for the past few weeks. Your soul signature exists, and I promise you, anything out of the parameters of what feels like love and light isn't your expression. And that is so incredibly challenging to fully understand and comprehend, because inherently we are light, inherently we are always striving to seek that which is the highest vibration for us, and anything outside of that parameter comes from images of the past, comes from colorings of the past, comes from expressions of the past, or that which we consider to be the negative imprint of this 3D plane of existence. So when you think about it in that terms, in that respect, any bit of fear, any bit of negative expression that is being brought to the forefront, please delve into that a little bit deeper to help you get yourself out of the expressions that you are, because I was just constantly spiraling, and specifically here on the Light Renegades, because I was reaching new soul signatures and not having a space to ground in, because I was creating a new space for us to be able to ground in. So now that I've plateaued in my energy, now that all of the Light Renegades have come together and we have plateaued in this energy together, we have a steady ground to stand upon. But until that point, I've just been running. All of us have just been running into a space that didn't exist. So we didn't have anything to, I guess, corroborate our story, to validate our spaces, because we was creating this new space for the collective to sit into. And this is going to be very specific souls that are guided to the Light Renegades. So please know, if what I'm sharing in this present given time, if what I've been sharing for some time hasn't been relating to you, that is completely okay, because we're just not in the same soul signature, and that's completely fine. And I bless you and I thank you for being here, and I hope that you do find your space, because I know that what we have to share is pretty taboo, it's pretty on the fringes of cutting edge consciousness right now, and I know that it's going to trigger so many, and I've been reaping the backlash of that triggering for some time, and I've been having to get incredibly thick skin, but somewhere, you know, it still hurts. I'm still a child somewhere, my inner child still exists, and it hurts to be in the expression of those that are living through a shadow, that are being triggered by me. And I know that I'm in spaces to trigger others, but it's been painful. So for those that are on that same expression, please know I love and I hear you, and please do step forward if you do need support in that. I think it's going to be through community that we'll be able to get through these pretty challenging aspects together. And I'm so incredibly grateful to be in the space where I am right now, where I get to share all of these truths that I've been told behind the scenes, but the collective just wasn't ready. So I felt like I've been sat on information for about 3 years of just not knowing exactly what to do with it, but seeing it play out in my present given personal expressions, and just thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't see any of this coming. I didn't see how far widespread. My whole entirety of my life has been with this idea of the shadow and the light, and it playing out over and over and over again in these cycles that have just been incredibly challenging for me. So if you know that this is an expression that you've been on, please know that you are not alone, and please know that it is not just you that you are fighting for. It's fighting for so many out there in the collective. We are all in this together, but now we are putting down the fight. We are trying to fight with love, with compassion, and at times that is incredibly difficult. I've been there. There is a rage that comes from not being able to be seen that is just insurmountable at times. And I found anger a really difficult expression to sit with, to be able to work through, because I always just want to see everyone in the highest of light, and to be able to not do that in certain spaces and see that some people have just been moving through pure shadow, and I've just had to accept that. It has been painful. My heart has been breaking over and over and over again, knowing that people have just been wanting to take me down, tear me down, perhaps end my life in some expression. That's been incredibly difficult to sit with, but that has been my truth, and that is the truth of some beings out there. And that is the truth of where we find ourselves right now. There are some out there that do not want humanity to exist anymore, and this is what we are fighting. The fight isn't at home, the fight is out there. So remember that when you're in your spaces, some people are being targeted, and they are being used to halt you in your path, because they know that what you have to bring forward is inherent light. So at any time that light is trying to be dampened or stamped out of you, just keep coming back to it, because your light can never be put out. Time and time again on this path, I've hit those points of thinking, I just can't do this anymore. It's been really challenging, but there has still just been this light that has told me to press forward, and I've continued to press forward. And I've been so incredibly grateful and lucky that souls have been stepping forward and sharing with me, and holding me in the spaces just when I needed it most. So to all of you here, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful for each and every one of you, because I truly wouldn't have been able to carry on without all of you. And I know each soul here, and we've lived many lives together. And to those that I'm not in contact with anymore, please know that I support you in all your spaces, and I just want what's best for you. And that's all I've ever wanted. So I hope that you are happy. I hope that you have found your place of peace, because that's all I want for everyone, truly. And that's all we should want, everyone, is just for everyone to be happy, to be healthy, and to be living the life that they consider to be their dreams. That is, I promise you, all that I want for everyone. And to me, to have a life without magic is to not live at all. So that's my dream. I want a life that is full of magic, that is full of sparkle, that is full of all the things that I was told wasn't possible as a child, but I knew in my heart was the truth. But I think I'm going to pause it there, everyone. I hope that this hasn't just been a multitude of rambles, although if it has been, I know that that's been divinely planned as well. But yeah, emotional week for me this week. I think this comes after a weekend of just absolutely being in a lot of tears for a dear soul. Getting married, it was such an energetic expression that I just didn't see coming. It felt like I could feel her energy, being given over to someone else in a different space, in a different time, in the most beautiful way. But these contracts are binding, these soul contracts that we have, these contracts of saying that we are wed with someone else, or saying that we are partnered with someone else. They are very real, they are very true. And there are some aspects that I've been having to really pull myself away from. I've been fighting to get away from, because it just wasn't helping me any longer. But that has been such a deep expression to go through. It's been incredibly challenging to go through, and to fight what you feel in your heart to be not right somewhere, to have to say no to a contract at some point, which was the highest vibration for you, and to have to say no to that is incredibly challenging. So for those that might be in that understanding, please know I love you and I see you, and I've been through that expression too. So please do not hesitate to reach out if you need support in your spaces. But that's all for myself today, and I'll be back real soon. Take care for now.